What's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a train deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this one for you guys because this deck is an amazing OTK deck that can easily OTK your opponent using awesome rank 10 machines. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can come part of our notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. So without further ado, let's go and get straight on into this. So first off, we're playing 3 copies of Night Express Knight. Night Express Knight is definitely a 3-0 in the build because this card is one of the best normal summons in the entire build, as it gets us a level 10 machine monster on our side of the field without tributing. With the ability that you can normal summon this card without tributing, but its original attack becomes 0, which is totally fine because it's super easy to summon in this build to get us a level 10 on our side of the field so we can start our plays. We then play 3 copies of Super Express Train. Super Express Train is awesome as a 3-0 in the build because this card is a great extender with the ability that if all monsters you control are Earth Machine monsters, you can special summon this card in your hand, and also during the end phase, if this card's in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can actually target a machine monster in the graveyard and add it back to your hand, except another copy of this card, which is a great effect. We then play 3 copies of Heavy Freight Train Dare Crane. This card is really good as a 3-of in the build because this card is an awesome extender with the ability of an Earth Machine monster is normally special summoned to your field. You can actually special summon this card from the hand, but its original attack and events become half, and you can only use the effect of this card once per turn. Also, if this card is detached from an XZ monster and sent to the grave to activate that monster's effect, you can target a card your opponent controls and destroy it, which is a great effect to help you pop a card in the field to make it that much easier to OTK. We then play a single copy of Citadel. Citadel is great as a 1-of in the deck because this card comes out extremely easily with your copy of Urgent Schedule, and it's great in this build to help you pop cards on the field. We then play 3 copies of Flying Pegasus Railroad Stampede. Railroad Stampede is awesome as a 3-0 in the build because this card is a great normal summon, and if this card is normal or special summon, you can actually target an Earth Machine monster in your graveyard and special summon it in defense position, but its effects are negated. You can also target one other face-up monster that you control, and the level of that monster or this card becomes level of the other monster, meaning you can actually target one of your level 10s and make your copy of Railroad Stampede actually become a level 10 as well, so we can step into rank 10 plays. We then play a single copy of Ruffian Railcar. Ruffian Railcar is just a really good 1-of because you want to make sure that you have a level 4 in the deck to be able to summon off your copy of Urgent Schedule, so this card is really good as a target in the build. We then play a single copy of Terverion KingJackGames. Terverion KingJackGames is really good as a 1-of in the build because this card is actually a walking negate that can target a Terverion monster or machine monster in the graveyard, special summon this card in the hand, and if you do, equip that monster to this card, which is a great effect. We then play 2 copies of the Star Destroying Kaiju. This card is really good as a 2-of in the build to basically just tribute over your opponent's cards, or use this card with Interrupted Kaiju Slumber to get us a level 10 machine monster on our side of the field, because we can actually give our opponent Gamma Seal, and we can actually take this card when we activate our copy of Interrupted Kaiju Slumber to destroy all monsters on the field. We then play 2 copies of Gamma Seal. Gamma Seal is great in the deck to be able to use your copy of Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, and you always want to hand this card to your opponent to make sure you have an easy target to swing into. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is definitely a 3-of in the build to basically just use this card to stop your opponent from touching the deck. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Terraforming. Terraforming is great in this deck as 1-of because it helps us get to the exact field spell that we need so we can actually get to our copy of Revolving Switchyard. We then play 2 copies of Clockwork Knight. Clockwork Knight is really good in this build as a 2 because it actually helps us reduce our opponent's monsters' attack points down. We also use Foolish Barrel Goods to help us search out Earth Machine monsters. This card is great in the deck as all face-up monsters on the field become machine monsters, and machine monsters that we control go up by 500 attacking defense, and all machine monsters our opponent control will go down by 500 attacking defense. You can also banish this card in the graveyard and then discard a card to add an Earth Machine monster from your deck to your hand, but you can only use this effect of this card once per turn and only once that turn. We then play 3 copies of Foolish Burial Goods. Goods is good, so we can actually send our copy of Clockwork Knight to the graveyard so we can get a search of an Earth Machine monster from our deck to our hand. We then play 3 copies of Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. Kaiju Slumber is great in this build to be able to use because this card destroys all the monsters on the field and then special summons a Kaiju to our field and a Kaiju to our opponent's field, which we always want to summon our copy of Star Destroying to our field and give our opponent the turtle so we can have a great way to OTK our opponent while also getting a level 10 machine monster on our side of the field. We then play 3 copies of Forbidden Droplets. Droplets is really good in this build as a 3/0 to basically just turn your opponent's field off and half the attack points of your opponent's monsters so he can swing in for game. We then play 3 copies of Revolving Switchyard. Switchyard is definitely a 3/0 in the build because if a level 10 Earth Machine monster is normally special summoned to your field, you can actually activate this effect that your opponent takes no battle damage for the rest turn, even if this card leaves the field. Also, you can special summon 1 level 4 Earth Machine monster with 18 or more attack from your deck to your side of the field, and if you do, it becomes a level 10, so we use that with our copy of Ruffian Railcar just in case we're going first, so we can basically get 2 monsters on our side of the field. And also send a card from your hand to the graveyard to actually add a level 10 Earth Machine monster from your deck to your hand, which is a great effect to be able to use to instantly get to another monster, so we can basically go in for game. We then play 3 copies of Urgent Schedule. Urgent Schedule helps out a lot in this build to be able to use, because if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you can special summon a level 4 or lower and 1 level 5 or higher Earth Machine monster from the deck in defense position, but negate their effects. And you cannot declare attacks the turn you activate this effect, except with machine monsters, which is totally fine because that's usually all we're attacking with anyways. Also, you can actually, if this set card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can actually add a level 10 machine monster from your deck to your hand, which is a crazy powerful effect just in case the set card is sent to the grave, which is an extremely powerful effect. So that's it for the main deck, guys. We do not play any traps in this deck, so let's get in to the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start off with Juggernaut Leap. Juggernaut Leap is definitely a 2/0 build because this card is an insane OTK piece that has the ability once per turn. You can also XZ summon this card using a rank 10 machine XZ monster you control as a material, transferring all of its materials to this card. When this card has the ability once per turn, you can detach material on this card. This card goes up to 6,000 attack points, going up by 2,000 attack and defense points. And also for the rest turn, you can only declare an attack with this card. And during each battle phase, this card can make attacks on monsters up to the number of XZ materials this card has, +1, meaning it's super easy to OTK your opponent with this card. We then play 2 copies of Gustav Max. Gustav Max is great just to do 2,000 points of burn damage to your opponent and then put a copy of Juggernaut Leap on top of this card, which is really cool. We play a single copy of Super Dora. Super Dora is really good as a 1/0 in the build because this card is ability once per turn during either player's turn. You can detach an XZ material from this card, target a face-up monster on the field, and that target is unaffected by card effects except for its own effects until the end of the turn, which is a great ability to make this card going first, so you can basically just throw this card in defense, and then during the opponent's turn you make it basically unaffected, which is really good. We then play a single copy of Sky Palace. Sky Palace is great in the build because this card is just an insane rank 10 that lets you detach material from this card and then target 1 card your opponent controls and destroy that target. And if you do, inflict 1,000 points of damage to your opponent, which is a great effect. But the only downside of this card is this card cannot attack the turn you activated this effect. But it's really good to be able to play in the deck as a 1/0, just to help you pop something on the field and do a little bit of burn damage. We then play a single copy of the Final Bringer of End of Times. This card is great to help you pop multiple cards on the field, and it's actually a negate, which is insane. That when your opponent activates a card effect, quick effect, you can detach a material on this card to negate the activation. Then you can actually detach a material on this card to destroy 1 card on the field. And at the start of the damage step, if this card attacks while it has a material, you can destroy a card on the field. And if this XZ7 card is destroyed, you can just destroy a card on the field. This card can destroy 3 cards on the field, which is actually insane. This card is definitely a 1/0 in the build because it's so easy to summon in this deck. We then made a single copy of Ravenous Tarantula. This card is really good as a one-of in the deck. It's basically just summon out to your side of the field, so we can step into our copy of Pain Gainer, and then we can actually step into our copy of the Seven Sins. These cards are really good in the deck. It's basically just step into a really strong Zeus on your side of the field, and it's very easy to summon this build, because all you have to do is make your copy of your number 35, and then step in number 84, and then you make your copy of Seven Sins on top of them, which basically looks like this, which is insane, with 2 materials under it, and then all you have to do is summon out your copy of Zeus to go in for game. These cards are really good in the deck and actually insane to be able to summon, because it's super easy just to make your level 10 or your rank 10 version of your monster, and then basically XZ summon and climb into your copy of Seven Sins. Plus 7 Sins comes out at 4,000 attack points, which is massive. We made a single copy of AA Zeus. AA Zeus is really good as a one-of, just to help you board wipe the field, and it's a really cool card because then it helps you go in for game. We made a single copy of Typhon. Typhon is really cool in the build to help you balance cards off the field. The only downside of this card is a skill drain for 3,000 or higher attack point monsters, but it's a really cool card just as basically, and I really need this card play, to basically just go second, and this is the only option you have, and it's just a really cool card overall in the build, just in case you need it. We made a single copy of Cleafort Genius. Cleafort Genius works really well with their copy of Urgent Schedule, so we can search out a level 5 or higher machine monster from our deck to our hand. We made a single copy of Double-Headed Anger. Anger is really good as a one-of, just to be able to use this card for our level 10 machine monsters, because you can actually, during the main phase, quick effect, send a monster from your hand or field to the graveyard, and then target a level 10 machine monster in the graveyard and special summon in defense position, but it negate its effects, which is a really cool effect. And then finally play a single copy of SP. SP is just a great option in the deck to basically just use it as a double interruption, just in case you need it. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played a train deck before, you should definitely give this deck a try. It's actually insane how easy it is to OTK your opponent using your copy of Juggernaut Lee. And it's a really good going second deck just to summon out some really insane rank 10 trains to help you go in for game. So that's good for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell on there so you can become part of notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.